The following podcast is brought to you by Radio WICV. To learn more information about us, visit us at radiowicv.com in the description below. Thank you, and enjoy. Hello, Drama Alert! It's your host, Killer Keemstar, and we're in for a wild ride. Nope! No, that is not the case. Hello, everyone. My name is Eli Copperman, the host of the brand new radio show, Sketchicast. In this podcast, I interview students here at the college I'm in. What college is that? The Maryland Institute College of Art. And right now, I'm part of the radio club of Radio WICV, where our number one rule is anything is NSFW. But so, with that said and done, now that I have your attention and that I'm going to interview somebody, I might as well introduce her. We're going to go by code names for right now. This is Pumagami, as you can find her on Instagram. I'd rather not mention her full name because, well, identity protection.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Really? That's all you can say?
This is my first time being on a radio show. I'm excited. So yeah.
That's great. Oh, that makes me happy.
Yeah.
All right. So I have 10 questions. Let's get her started. Now, in terms of going as far back as your childhood or anything else, what would you say inspired you to create art specifically? Because I know you're an illustration major, but you also like concept art. So where did that whole inspiration play out?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so technically, I mean, I'm a freshman, so I don't have, like, a major right now. But it's, I think, like, I got into art, like, at a really young age. And I was, like, you know, the kid that always drew and stuff. My mom is also an artist, so...
Nice.
Yeah, she, like, taught me everything I know. Not everything I know, sorry. She taught me a lot. She, like, set me on the path to, like, fundamentals and stuff, and, like, she had a what's it called? She had a class. She taught a class, an art class, and she, like, made me sit in on it, and I didn't like it at first, but it really helped me, like, form, like, my understanding of, like, you know, form and shadow and stuff. Mm-hmm. Later on, I, like, you know, I discovered the internet and stuff, and I spent a lot of time on DeviantArt, and
oh god,
yeah.
those places.
No, it's not.
At least you didn't go on Tumblr.
I did.
Oh god damn it.
Did that too. I had a Tumblr account for a while that I ran, cause you know, like 2015, we just loved that. But
that's nice.
Yeah. So I started, like, following all these artists who, you know, like, were in the industry, like Art Germ and stuff.
I have a question about that, but continue.
Yeah. And, you know, like, when you're, like, younger, you're really impressionable, so I would be constantly looking at art and stuff, and, like, with social media, it makes it easier for artists to, like, you know, assimilate to, like, you know, like, just find other artists, and, like, I was, like, really, I mean, I was passionate about it, and I didn't, like, want to go to art school at first, but as time went on, I realized, you know, like, all these illustrators and concept artists and stuff, because they're kind of in the same, like, boat, like, they make a living, and so, yeah, that's really where I, like, started to, like, head towards that track.
That's great.
Yeah.
So, actually, my next question is, and I guess you already answered a good chunk of it, but how do you think social media has really benefited you in getting your content out there? Like, how has it been useful in that front, if you've even created a lot of notable content?
Yeah, So I do have an Instagram. I've been working on it a long time, and um, wait, sorry, what was the question I just had?
Like how has it been useful in showcasing your content? Did you
Oh,
and like did it ever gain you a lot of traction? Did anyone like
mm-hmm.
look at this and say, "Hey, that's great," or like did close family members say, "Hey, this is great. I hope you keep on doing this stuff."
Yeah. Um, I don't. I'm hesitant to show my family, because that's really it's been a thing where I've tried to keep it showing like my work
Mm-hmm.
to people in my personal life to a minimum because it's like kind of like hindering, but to like my I guess content and inspiration because like everyone wants to draw whatever they want and when your parents are seeing what you're like putting online it's awkward because
Yeah.
like you're
What? My daughter did this? Oh God, this is most unorthodox.
it's so yeah like my dad like found my art Instagram and he was like, what are you like doing? This is so weird. And I was like, I'm sorry, but sorry anyway. I got off track, but
Yes.
so I mean I like started getting traction on Tumblr
Oh boy.
because I was like very obsessed with getting traction and like that is not like it hasn't been the best thing for my art, I think. So but it is important to get exposure to your art because especially if like you want to be in the industry and you want to be a professional artist, like you probably everyone hears this, but like you really need to be like showcasing your work and stuff because like that's like how people know like who you are.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, there's always a balance of like I don't want to post, but I need exposure. Like I need to get my art out there.
Right. Right.
So yeah, so it's like it has been good because I've gotten a lot of support from other artists online and
That's good.
met people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a really good way to answer that. So my next question is, um, with all that inspiration aside, when did you first realize that the medium of art could benefit you successfully in addition to creatively, like in terms of making this stuff for a living?
Yeah, definitely the entertainment industry ever since I have been online has like I've like noticed it and the artists that are in the industry are like huge sources of inspiration to me. And I think that at some point, I think I was like 16 when I like realized that I wanted to be an artist.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like I was really thinking of ways to do it,
I see.
um, and like you like kind of find your niche, and then people like you like find like the people that like have the job that you want to do, and you're like,
Mm-hmm.
that's like an example to me, um, like I can do art and I can also make money
Right. Right.
and yeah so
Consider getting a Patreon in the future.
I would I'm a little hesitant about getting
Yeah,
Patreon.
you don't have to start now. That actually leads me into the next question. Who would you consider your biggest idol?
I feel like I really don't have one and
Mm.
I know that's like weird, but I think that my idols are like the people that like all the artists that I have like studied and looked up to for a really long time because I don't have there isn't like one person or one artist that I think like wow this is like this guy's like like I want to be exactly like this guy and
I don't know. When I was a kid, I wanted to be the next Richard Williams.
Really? Yeah, no. I was like maybe Hayao Miyazaki.
Oh yeah, Miyazaki's great.
Yeah, cuz like he's made like films that like have shaped my life literally, so maybe he but like I don't want to be an animator, so
Yeah, you need the right type of patience for it, which is, I guess you also need the patience for the illustration factor, but animation, it's like you must freaking hate yourself. There's this saying, like, if you're an animation major, you must really, really hate yourself compared to illustration majors where you just hate yourself.
yeah, that's basically the premise behind animating, like drawing one thing over and over again. Yeah. Are we supposed to talk, or do you just want to interview?
No, it's kind of both. This
Okay.
is not edited, folks.
Sorry.
Nah, it's fine. I love doing this stuff on the fly. Okay, so with that said and done, so middle school and high school, at least to me, tended to be the places where most people slowly find their passion. Whether it comes to someone starting off rather introverted, but then they slowly, gain more confidence in themselves, or they're extroverted, but they haven't found their voice, and they do find it when they're leaning more towards their older life. So, would you say, like, be it either of those places, would you say that's where you discovered what you were most interested in?
Um, I think so. I think in middle school or like going into middle school is when I was getting more into like character design and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And like I've drawn all throughout high school but it's kind of been like a consistent thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
I It's weird cuz like I don't know if I've really found my voice as an artist, and I don't think a lot of people have, like here, honestly, because we're in college and that's what we're here to do.
Even in a big place like Micah, you're still like, man, I don't know what I'm doing, and that's what clubs are for.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that, I guess,
Don't mind me.
okay. The question, I don't remember. But like, I did like grow in high school, like artistically, but it was more sharpening my skills so that I could get into college and be a good artist, like
Mm-hmm.
learning anatomy, trying to learn perspective, even though I still kind of suck at it.
I think it's better in that case that you gain enough confidence to say I'm not that great than flat out say, oh, I suck at this, because even if you're not like really good at something, like, but you admit that you're still in the beginning process, then that's actually really nice to think about.
Yeah, I mean, perspective's hard.
Perspective's my enemy.
Perspective is everyone's enemy. Like, learning stuff like that takes time, and I like understood that throughout high school, but I think I also understood like I don't have any time to waste. Like, I need to start like studying this stuff now, because like if I don't study it now, then I'm gonna have to study it later, and then
Right.
I won't have room to like grow, like, you know.
Yeah, speaking as someone who was very introverted back in middle school, I can safely say I'm glad those years are over.
Oh my gosh, yeah, me
Although
too.
I don't regret all of them because I was in a cartooning school where I learned those crooks. Although even then, I can say most of my artwork back then is like inferior compared to what I'm making now.
Oh yeah, like I don't even want to look at my sketchbooks from middle school.
But what if they're so good that you could put them in a portfolio? Gosh.
No, definitely not. I was like the anime artist.
Oh, you draw anime? Freaking no, that's reserved for the animators.
Yeah, I didn't want anyone to know that I drew anime.
It's one of those cases.
I was like that one like weeb that no one liked really, and like that's not to be like no one liked me, but like no one liked me because like as like artists, like you're different, and
Yeah.
you know.
I think, like, I had a conversation with someone earlier that I forget what she specifically said, but she had a really good point in that a lot of artists don't really think, and this isn't a stereotype, but a lot of, like, people who have a passion for the arts don't really think the same way as, like, people who aren't, because I've noticed that a lot of, people who love art have been, if not introverted, that then they prefer to just follow their own passions, and so it comes at the cost of not really being the most socially adept, which is fine. Like,
Yeah.
I've been there myself.
I think we all have.
If you're watching this, Mom, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's something about being an intuitive person, and like being an artist and that connection where you're like always in your head and you're like always in your room drawing and you don't know like how sometimes to talk to other people, but like you learn because there are other artists around and stuff,
Oh yeah, that's something you can definitely gain from being in a relatively big place like this, which leads me into the next question. Since you've entered Micah straight out of high school, how does the big change feel for you? Were you, like, really anxious about going there, or after a while were you like, you know what, I'm okay with this?
Like, so this is just me personally, but I was not excited to come here, which is like so weird. I know, like you're not excited to go to college. Like, what's wrong with you? But because I didn't know what to expect. And like, I think I told you this, but originally I wanted to go to art center. So I was like, God, I don't like want to be here really. But then I got here and everyone was like so like similar to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wow, I just think that like we're all like in this like niche like
You found your people.
maybe I mean I still don't know like I don't know like you never like know when if the place you're in is like right, but I think like I obviously like finding people has not been easy. Like I do like I've made a few friends, but it's like again like we're kind of like on our own and stuff, and it's been a difficult change, but not as bad as I thought it would be. Definitely. So yeah, and also doing art like so much like just distracts you from any like emotions you might be feeling about the change.
Yeah.
And like because I swear to God I worked like 60 hours on art this week. Like yeah, things are crazy here, so I mean
I don't think I worked as hard on anything than when I was a freshman at my previous college. And now I'm basically doing work while simultaneously doing other fun activities, which in turn is also stressful, but not as... It doesn't feel like constant work all the time, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I guess like doing... Because it's not like we're doing math or anything.
No.
It's like...
Hell, if this place had math, I'd be like, nope.
Yeah, no, same. That's one advantage to college. You don't have to do math, or art college. You don't have to do math. So yeah, I mean, like doing art a lot, like I can't complain about it. Like I'm definitely like improving a lot, and that's for sure. Cause like you have to do so much all the time. So yeah.
All right, that's great to know. Given that factor, you're not from here, and not only that, you're not even from the East Coast. Micah is here in Baltimore, Maryland, whereas you're from Seattle, Washington, the West Coast.
Yeah.
And how has that major boost affected you? Did it overwhelm you in any way? Did you feel like being here is like vastly different from the West Coast? Did you feel welcome here even?
Yeah. I feel I mean, I feel like the people here are different, and I don't know if you've ever heard of the Seattle Freeze,
No.
but okay, so there's this.
All I know is that it rains a lot there.
Yeah, so it rains a lot, and we drink a lot of coffee because it's so dark all the time. Anyway, like, um, so there's this thing called the Seattle Freeze, where in Seattle, basically, like, um, it's notoriously hard to make friends
Oh.
because it's like everyone's so antisocial there, and
Really?
I've like had that like kind of like pick that up from other people because like no one like wants to talk to anyone. So I don't know, I think it's just a like Seattle thing, but um it's like different. Like everyone here is really nice, and um I don't know, like, want to say that it's been like a huge change for me because I've traveled a lot and stuff, and like I've been to the East Coast before, but like um I think it's a nice change of pace. I don't get connected to places really, and that much, but I think that like the atmosphere of this place, like I'm like enjoying it, you know? Like I
Mhm.
like Baltimore.
Yeah. It's a relatively open space, and I actually think it's a major benefit for a lot of people because the spaces are more um, spread out compared to other schools in like bigger cities. And I don't know about any art colleges in like Seattle or anything, but given that Seattle's a very prosperous and very productive city, I imagine like it would be very overwhelming for some, like me.
Yeah. I mean, there are barely any art schools in Seattle, which is why I had to leave. Because I think the only art school there is like Cornish and
Cornish.
Cornish College of Art. And yeah, so I kind of just left because like there's not much for me there. I mean, I don't want to work at like Microsoft or something, like
Mm,
be an artist. So
I
yeah.
see.
hmm
Okay, that's actually really good to know. So now we're going on to the part of this interview that delves more deep into your interest in concept art and illustration. So,
All right.
given your interest in concept art, you did actually say to me before that you love the work that goes into video games and films. So, if given the opportunity, which one of those mediums would you want to enter the most? It can be both, but which one do you love more?
I would say video games. Um, just because, first of all, I don't know as much about concept art from movies. I think it's more cross, like, the it's not as much an art factor because, I mean, movies are more grounded in realism sometimes, and then game design is more like you gotta create this, like, cool, like, apocalyptic character and stuff, and it's like you're drawing like and you're sculpting in
Right.
ZBrush and stuff.
Yeah. And I've often felt that like one major difference between film and video game, obviously, any given film with a lot of really cool visuals, like will have those kinds of like really highly detailed and stylized concept art, but I think like with video games because like they don't focus well some video games do focus on like the story, but like the main focus obviously is the gameplay, whereas like the movie
Yeah.
obviously you need like a good style to sell people, but the story is what matters the most. So in that sense, like a lot more emphasis will be put on like the world building based off of the story, whereas like with games, there will be a lot of big emphasis based on just the core concepts and just the world building in general, as
True.
opposed to like the actual narrative.
Yeah, and then you have like more stylistic freedom, especially if you're an art director and you're making the game, like how the game's interface, like how it looks and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And like you're getting an idea across, so it's like, well, what is this character? Like what do I want the player to know about this character? Well, you know, like it's solving problems like that. And I think that like at least like I'd at least want to like do that for a couple of years, or like go into illustration for video games or anything like that. because it's like been an interest of mine for like a while. So yeah.
That's good to know. So let's see. Yes. We'll get to that question later, actually. But what would you say is a favorite video game of yours?
I like really liked Borderlands 2. And I don't know if I'm gonna get the next game, but Borderlands, I played it like all summer, and like, yeah, it just, and I love the character. I don't know if you ever played the game.
I don't really play a lot of games.
Yeah, I don't either, but I figured, like if I want to be a video game artist, I should probably play some video games. Which was like kind of a mistake because I like totally like got sucked into it, and yeah, so Borderlands, I love the concept art. I love the like character design and all the world building and stuff, and like the entire world is so amazing, and I just like I love the concept art. The he's the art director for it, Sergei Brosa. Like if you get a chance, if any, like just check him out because like his stuff is like he's like one of my favorite artists. But anyway, yeah, so I like got so much inspiration from that game. Also Persona 5.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that.
Yeah, even though I don't think I'll ever get a chance to work on a JRPG cuz yeah, but like I love it. It's so artistic, and like I love when you can see like the art that's been incorporated into the video game. So that's like one thing I like about Persona. It's yeah, it's really cool.
That's great. In contrast, what would you say is a favorite film of yours?
Yeah, I always answer Spirited Away cuz I just love I love Miyazaki, like, or his films. It's like the first movie I ever saw, and I still get like so much. I have so many emotions about it. Like, I think some people think it's like overrated, but like it's not. Like it's
No,
so
I think
good.
it's like. I mean, obviously, not everyone can like get by how weird it is, but I think that's like the genuine charm. And
Yeah.
it's a coming of age story of a girl who's basically trying to find herself again when like her parents are taken away, and when she has no choice but to defend for herself. Because in that situation, who's going to save you?
Yeah, exactly.
Not even the weird dragon boy.
Yeah. And like I think that the weirdness, quote unquote weirdness, is like not even weird to me because first of all, it's like one of the first movies I ever saw, like I said, but like I think that it's shaped like what I've like my subject matter in my art, because sometimes people think that what I draw is like, oh, that's weird, like what is that? But like ambiguity, like I like but what by ambiguity I mean like when you're watching the film, like you don't really know what's going on, like
Right.
what is this like spirit thing? It's like really like weird, and like I don't know.
What's up with that daikon radish?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like what the hell is that? But yeah, so I think that is important, like to me. So that's like the first film off the top of my head. So yeah.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this next question may sound a bit, not personal per se, but it's going to go into a bit more of a serious topic, and it more so has to do with getting into the industry. And I'm more so just asking you this in terms of feeling comfortable around others, but do you feel as if the industry is still kind of a boys' club? And even in that sense, that whole thing is kind of debatable with like the Me Too movement going on, and how there's much more inclusivity now, even like to 10 years ago, and now women are able to speak up more, and now they're in like bigger positions, especially when women in animation is partnered up with this college. So with that said, do you feel like do you not would you not feel as welcome in the industry, or do you feel like that time has kind of passed and you would feel more like the environment would be more inclusive, or do you still feel as if there's always going to be sexism going around?
So I think that I can't speak to my experience because I have not been hired into an in-house studio, and I'm just 18. But like, I've heard stories, and you know, I think that anything that would happen is probably going to be like a microaggression, and I really don't want to talk out of my ass because, like, I don't want, like, it's hard because I haven't had the experience, but I really think that stuff like that doesn't really disappear, but it certainly is probably gonna be less noticeable when I get a job, and I don't think that I'm gonna, like, face, like, aggression head on unless god forbid I'm wrong, but I think that, like, I've heard, like, if there are people that are sexist and or discriminatory, I don't think there are people that I want to work with anyway, because I have a lot of respect for artists, and that's not to say like artists are like all good people, obviously, but like I want to find people to work with that like I'll be able to get along with, and that's like probably pretty important if you're making a product and stuff. Making an like and you're in an end goal, and like yeah. So I mean, I guess we'll have to see. But I will try to stand up for myself if that does ever happen, you know.
You know, given where you are, I think like if you ever feel like awkward or like you ever ask about stuff like that, you will get a lot of encouragement, and people will definitely be by your side, because I mean, I just got here to this college myself, but I can already tell it's a very inclusive environment. And even if there are some rotten eggs in the basket, you'll still feel, you'll be welcome in open arms, and nobody will like talk down to you. And even if someone does, there will always be someone else to say, "Hey, knock it off. She doesn't deserve that," because we are becoming a lot more accepting now, and I think that's great.
Yeah, definitely with the rising generation of artists. Like, I don't think that it's not like we're like working at Disney in the 60s, like, like it's like 2019, and like
Exactly.
I think it's gonna get better.
Yeah, we could still use like more, but we are getting there, and I think that's what matters most.
Yeah.
Okay. My next question, and this does kind of go back to the previous one, but at least in terms of students, I'm not quite sure about faculty, but this college is 75% women. So with that said, do you feel like you fit in well, or has that never really crossed your mind? You're just like happy to meet people.
Okay, because this is funny because it has crossed my mind, and everyone when they get into college is like looking to like date and stuff, and I'm a straight like cis girl, so yeah, and well, that's kind of, it's a little I don't know, I wouldn't say like disappointing obviously, but like it's like I find that I have a lot in common with people because we're all like girls and we're all the same age, and we all do art, and like we're pretty much the same person except for like all our differences. And
yeah, and even like the older students, you'll probably notice some similarities too.
Yeah, but I don't have any qualms like with being on a mostly female campus. Like obviously, like yeah. It's fine.
And the whole dating thing in general, like some people just rush into that too early. You gotta,
oh yeah,
you gotta wait on that.
Yeah,
I'd
definitely.
rather just like get to know you first, and then like much a little later on, even then it's just be friends.
Yeah. So I think I've like, and it's also like it helps me focus on my art more because I
Yeah.
don't have any distractions. Speaking as a teenage girl, you know, like gotta remember that like I'm, you know,
Some people don't even marry real people; they marry themselves to the arts.
pretty much probably what's gonna happen with me. I'll just be a cat lady.
You
You know?
never know. Someone's gonna come in and sweep you across the arms.
No,
It'll be a Disney film.
I hope not.
One song.
I hope not.
No, that would just be creepy otherwise.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh man. Okay, I think we have a couple more questions left. So given that you're a freshman here, and you obviously have about, I don't know, at least for 4 years to go, and you're obviously going to experience a lot of ups and downs, be it in the illustration department, and you've even mentioned that although you are kind of an illustration major, you're also kind of not. You haven't figured yourself out just yet.
Mhm.
Where do you see yourself in a year? Not even for 4 years, just a
Yeah.
year.
A year like um gosh, well this whole first year experience thing is really intense and
As it should be.
yeah, well, I'm going to see where my art is by the end of the year cuz I haven't decided and I told myself by second semester of sophomore year if I didn't think that this school was right for me, like that I would probably find something else. But like it's yet to be, you know, decided because um I want to give it a chance and like staying here all 4 years, it sounds like really it's like far in the future. Like I
Right.
can't see that far. Um, I really want to get an internship this summer at least,
Yeah.
so that I can like get into the industry because with this school I feel a little like there's not much industry like focus.
I would disagree with that in the sense that we do like the place has a lot of good connections, especially the animation department and the graphic design department as well.
Yeah, I'd hope so cuz like I'm really trying to figure that out. Like I don't know. Um and then again, I don't know what school would be better and I like want to find like a mentor sort of that like would help me with my art and I don't know if there's one here, you know? And
Yeah.
that's like what's been happening or going through my head recently. Like, what am I going to do next year? Like, is my art a place that I want to be? Because I definitely don't want to be, I definitely am not the kind of artist to showcase in a studio and, you know, like, that's not like, but I feel like that's where this trajectory is taking me
Mm-hmm.
right now, but that might not be the case.
Yeah, that makes me think of like my previous college went because like I went to a 2 year school before this, and some people like, I mean, other people left the school for personal reasons, but like in terms of those who left because they just genuinely did not want to pursue art, like I don't know where they are now, but I just hope they, found their footing elsewhere.
Yeah, and yeah, I think that with the seemingly like fine arts focus here, I am going to see like I think my art is definitely it's different than what other people are doing. So I think that I would like to be um, among people that also are interested in concept art and also have the same kind of art like focus, which is not happening right now. But yeah,
Well, you can always read books and look up more artists.
yeah, That's true.
And for the record, like I've seen your work. You do pretty well for a first timer.
Thank you.
I mean, it's not much, but I think you're getting there.
Thanks.
Just open up more work on Tumblr.
No.
No,
I don't think so.
But maybe not. All right. Before we wrap this up, I'll ask two more questions. So, in terms of where you are now, who would you say has been your favorite teacher?
Definitely Rubino. I don't think he's listening. Shout out to Rubino. He's my drawing teacher. He's awesome. I don't talk to teachers much, but like he's like really well, he's not afraid to critique, but like he's also like encouraging and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he's really funny. So, yeah.
That's great. I don't actually know him, but I'm sure he's great.
He is.
My life drawing teacher, I don't know if she's the same as him, but she's very passionate about the medium of drawing with charcoal or graphite or, dare me I say it, ink and paint. And even when like she's at her toughest, I always just like laugh inside because it's like, yeah, that's what an art teacher would be like.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So we got one more question, although it's kind of a two-parter. So, this is going to be my wrap-up question for all my other interviewees in the future. But, so for you, Pumagami, be it personal or professional, what would you say have been both the toughest moments, the toughest moment in your life, and the proudest moment in your life, and how did you get out of the former, and how did the latter impact you?
Okay, so the toughest moment and my proudest moment.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Oh my gosh, that's hard. Okay, so I guess the toughest moment in my life would probably be the moment I entered middle school. Everything went downhill from there.
Hey, it's middle school. As my old father said it best, if I were in charge, I would just put kids on a farm for their whole middle school lives and then just we'll let them figure it all out.
Yeah. And then I've had a lot of tough moments in middle school. And I think probably like, okay, so the toughest, okay, actually I have never been good at math because I'm an artist. And I was studying for the SAT, and my like dad, like, I had 6 months to study, but I was like, I don't want to do this. Like, I'm going to art college. I'm doing art. Like, I don't care. Like, and my dad was like, we got to the week before the SAT, and I hadn't studied and put in the time because I was supposed to study 100 hours, and I didn't do it, like, at all. I studied probably like 5 hours. And my dad was like, he was mad at me, but like my tutor, like, who had just spent like the past 6 months like tutoring me, was like, I feel like I've wasted like these past 6 months. And like that was really hard to hear because like I've been like, I had been trying really hard like all of my high school career, but like just all because of one test, there were like some schools that I like just was barred from that. Yeah, and I just like couldn't, but then I made it into like art school because like obviously my portfolio was good enough. But yeah, I think the proudest moment of my life, maybe like, this doesn't sound like much. Jeez. I haven't been that proud of myself that much, cause
Aw.
no, it's not like a like pity thing. It's just like I like always like try to improve and stuff, you know. So like I'm always like trying to like get ahead of myself, but I don't know, maybe like the first time I learned how to paint because I was like so bad at it, and or maybe like when I reached like 10K on Instagram because I never thought like anyone would like my art. So, yeah, probably.
That's great to know. Actually, I would say that in that sense, if you do feel like that is your proudest moment, then you have a lot more to learn from.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for being here. This was my first time doing this. It was a lot of fun. I think this was your first time ever being interviewed for something like this. So
yeah.
thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was really fun.
Absolutely. And that'll do it for this week, folks. I hope you enjoyed this lovely broadcast. And if you didn't, well, I apologize. But until then, take care. Hopefully, we will see you next week on Radio WICV. Take care.